A message from Oregon Democratic candidate for governor, Michael Trimble.
I'm running for governor because Oregon desperately needs a well-informed, hard-working, everyday citizen, not yet another tired and worn-out established politician. I break this cycle and will use the governorship to enact progressive and tangible change. I am a grassroots candidate, unlike Tina and Tobias, who are the elite Democratic establishment, backed by special interests and big-dollar corporate lobbyists. I will be answering to you. I am a regular citizen, and I think it's time that we try a different approach by electing one of us to governor so we can actually finally tackle these issues once and for all.
Michael Trimble, who is running for the governor for the state of Oregon. And Michael, welcome to KBZY Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Now, I think you would freely acknowledge you're not necessarily one of the more well-known names in the contest, but that's something I guess you're kind of proud of. You're looking for getting away from kind of the typical candidates running for governor this time around.
Oh, my goodness, absolutely, because I am not a politician or a government career official. This is very true. I am an everyday citizen who is fed up with the status quo and who wants to do something about it.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background for those that would like to, give you consideration for the Democratic nomination?
Oh, absolutely. I was born without arms in Russia because of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in Ukraine, and I was surrendered to an orphanage at birth, and I learned at a very young age to be a fighter for rights. I was adopted by evangelical parents who tried to convert me to Christianity. They sent me to 2 Christian boarding schools when they found out that I was gay to try to convert me from there. And as you can see or tell, I am still a very much happy man. Despite my disability, I use my feet like you use your hands for everything. I work full-time for Care Oregon, which is a healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid subsidized company. I do everything with my feet, tie with my toes, dress, cook. I even ride a bike, if you can believe it or not. I biked 10,868 miles in 2020. I may not have an ace up my sleeve, but I will never, ever be caught sitting on my hands, as I'll be too hard working for Oregonians.
Well, now, with your involvement there in the healthcare industry, just the general approach to healthcare, I guess that's one of the big issues in your campaign.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, sir, absolutely. What I want to do is actually expand Oregon Health Plan to all Oregonians, regardless of income or immigration status, because healthcare is a human right, not a luxury or a privilege. I want to curtail healthcare costs along with prescription drug prices, setting an annual cap of just how much you spend on health-related services. And then once you do reach that cap, the state will pay going forward. Too many Oregonians in 2022 are going bankrupt due to ever-skyrocketing costs of medical care. The United States spends more money on healthcare than many other developed countries combined, but receives abysmal results with shorter lifespans and even lower quality of life. And that is just not right. And where medical tourism is appropriate, Oregon will definitely subsidize because, believe it or not, a lot of procedures can actually be done in Mexico, Canada at a fraction of the cost that can be done here in America. And obviously, I want to make sure that people are able to take advantage of those services.
And another item that's featured prominently on your website, which is trimbleforgov.com, is you addressing the subject of high rents. What could you tell our listeners about that?
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. And so after Oregon becomes the first state in the nation with true universal single-payer health care, I will tackle the next astronomically out-of-this-world rents that are consuming over 50% of many renters' incomes. Rents of middle to low-income tenants will be lowered by me as governor by at least $100 at multi-unit apartment properties. Rent relief will be delivered to as many tenants as quickly as possible because returning the hard-earned money back to them will prove to be an economic stimulus that benefits small businesses right here in Oregon. On a much more ambitious and grander scale, rents of middle to low-income tenants will be capped at 30% of the income under my administration. Paying lower, more reasonable rents alone will not solve the ever-increasing cost of rent-related expenses like non-refundable fees, including application and pet fees, security deposits that tenants usually never receive back, first and last month's rent up front. Of course, the cost of moving from one apartment to another are just a few examples. all borne by the tenant. A typical application is usually $45, if not more. If you apply at 5 different places, there's $225 gone right there. Non-refundable fees typically range in the hundreds of dollars. First and last month's rent can usually run into the thousands, along with a security deposit. The cost of paying for or renting a moving truck run in the hundreds as well. The cost of applying then moving are cost prohibitive for so many hardworking Oregonians who don't have thousands of dollars just laying around. And so under my leadership, the state government will process background checks and any other checks landlords, property management owners pass onto the tenants. Non-refundable fees are gone under my administration. First and last month's rent, along with security deposits, will be calculated into the rent for the duration of the lease for those who can't pay these obscenely egregious sums up front. And then I also want to include that pets will be living rent-free. Annual rent increases will also be tied to tenants' incomes. If they don't receive a raise, then their rent is going to remain as it is. It is unconscionable that a landlord or property manager believes it's okay to raise rent when the income remains the same. How do you think they would feel if the roles were reversed? Let's be fair here. If a landlord or property manager needs help, I'm here there for him or her, but I'll be damned if another financial burden is just passed down to the tenants. Like healthcare, housing is a right, not a luxury or a privilege, and I want to make sure that that is enshrined in our state constitution, because in America, the richest country in the world, we should not have people living on the streets or being able to barely afford the rent. Like myself, I live in a studio, and I pay almost $1,500 a month in rent. It's just untenable.
Now, another issue that you're strong on your website, you say on day one you're going to declare the addiction crisis a state emergency. Why don't you expand on that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. There are too many people on the streets, and also there's what we call the invisible addiction crisis, people who are working full-time, holding jobs, living with families, but they are addicted to drugs left and right. And so what I want to do is I want to merge all of the different departments that work together to be able to help come up with an expensive plan that actually bridges the gap and finally solves this. A lot of people who are seeking government assistance receive government assistance without any strings attached whatsoever. I'm one of the few candidates who's actually mandating treatment along with government services. If you're going to be receiving subsidized housing, free housing, SNAP benefits, which are food stamps, anything like that, and you are on drugs, you must seek treatment. I do approve of Measure 110, which decriminalize a lot of drugs, and I myself voted for it, but unfortunately, too many people are still not receiving the help that they desperately need. And so what I want to do is get all the different agencies together and figure out a plan to how we can actually solve this case once and for all.
All right, we're down to our final couple of minutes here. Again, speaking with Michael Trimble, the website trimbleforgov.com, running on the Democratic side. The primary coming up May 17th for the nomination for governor, and we'll kind of give you the opportunity to do sort of a closing statement. What are the important things you'd like our listeners to be aware of?
Oh, absolutely, definitely. I'm running for governor because Oregon desperately needs a well-informed, hard-working, everyday citizen, not yet another tired and worn-out established politician. I break this cycle and will use the governorship to enact progressive and tangible change. I am a grassroots candidate, unlike Tina and Tobias, who are the elite Democratic establishment backed by special interests and big-dollar corporate lobbyists. Tina and Tobias are already indebted and accountable to those PACs, but not me. I will be answering to you. Too many Oregonians, myself included, live the paycheck-to-paycheck struggle, just one financial disaster away from homelessness. It is important to note that the homeless population has exploded under Tina and Tobias' administration and legislation. I am a regular citizen, and I think it's time that we try a different approach by electing one of us to governor so we can actually finally tackle these issues once and for all.
All right, very good. Again, Trimble for Governor, the website. Michael Trimble with us here this morning. We appreciate the opportunity, and good luck to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, we're at
a message from Oregon Democratic candidate for governor, Michael Trimble.
I'm running for governor because Oregon desperately needs a well-informed, hard-working, everyday citizen, not yet another tired and worn-out established politician. I break this cycle and will use the governorship to enact progressive and tangible change. I am a grassroots candidate, unlike Tina and Tobias, who are the elite Democratic establishment backed by special interests and big-dollar corporate lobbyists. I will be answering to you. I am a regular citizen, and I think it's time that we try a different approach by electing one of us to governor so we can actually finally tackle these issues once and for all.